All right, people, happy Sunday. This is take 3. I have made a couple mistakes during this video. Hopefully this is the last take. This is Mrs. Golson here, and I promised you this video yesterday, but I didn't get around to it. I've just had a lot of other things going on with the fam, but hopefully this helps you in time to do your homework. So in this video, we're just talking about our homework. Homework is due tomorrow, 10/17. It's page S47 in the middle of the book for all the classes. Your homework focuses on writing equations and drawing a number line model to model addition and subtraction of rational numbers. And today in the video, like I just said, we're going to be modeling addition of rational numbers, modeling subtraction of rational numbers, and I'm just going to give you a couple hints to study for our upcoming test. And our test is going to be on Friday the 21st. We are going to be finishing up what we're doing in Module 2. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of these problems with you, just to kind of show you how to do this. And hopefully this helps you out. So this problem is from our homework, or actually not from our homework, it's from our classwork, and then I'm taking one of your homework problems to do it. So if you are watching this video, you'll have 5 problems instead of 6, because I'm going to be doing one of your homework problems for you. So here's an example of a word problem that you may see when you're doing this stuff here. Okay, so a fish was swimming 3.5 feet below the water surface at 7 o'clock a.m. 4 hours later, the fish was at a depth that is 5 1/4 feet below where it was at 7 o'clock a.m. What rational number represents the position of the fish with respect to the water surface at 11 o'clock a.m.? Okay, so when I'm solving these problems, I am looking at my numbers and I'm looking at the specific words that tell me exactly what to do and what type of number the 3.5 is and what type of number the 5 1/4 is. So first, before I even start my number line model, because I need to make an equation and a number line model, that's what the homework says. So let me write equation and number line model. I want both of those. Okay, so I'm going to start off with an equation. So I'm looking at my 3.5 feet, and it says it was below the water surface. So I'm just going to circle 3.5 feet and below, because that's pretty important. And then I'm going to look at what happened 4 hours later. So 4 hours later, the fish was at a depth that is 5 1/4 feet below where it was at 7 a.m. So I'm just going to circle that 5 1/4 feet below. So that's telling me that both of my numbers are negative, because I'm looking at the water surface as level 0, or sea level. So my equation, I'm just going to make some boxes here. I'll make a symbol there, because I know something and something equals something. So my 3.5 feet is negative. So I'm just going to make sure I put a negative there. And I'm just going to go ahead and add a negative, because the fish, it fell down even more. So I can subtract here, but I like adding negatives, because I know subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative. So I'm going to say negative 5 1/4. And we're going to figure out what that equals using a number line model. So in class, we talked about only using or putting the numbers that we need to have on a number line. So I've got a negative 3.5, and I'm adding a negative 5 1/4. In this case, I really don't need to have any positive numbers, because I'm adding 2 negatives. So sometimes we get geeked up that we can make a number line, and when we draw the number line, we end up putting numbers on there that we don't even need. But here I'm adding 2 negatives, so I'm just going to put the numbers on there that I need. So let's start making that number line. So I like to use the line of the paper. Not that neat, but it'll work. And so I know I've got a 1/4 here and a 1/2. So I'm going to just break my number line into whole numbers and break the whole numbers into 4ths. So let's start at negative 2. So I'm going to put -2 here because I know I'm going back. So -2, leave some space, -3, -4, -5. I hope this is long enough, and it's not. So I'm actually going to turn my paper. I'm going to turn my paper so I can make another one. So let's scratch that one out. Okay, so that's not long enough either. I'm going to use the back. Okay, we make mistakes. Teachers, we make mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to start here. -2. Then some space. -3. Let's see, I skipped 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. -5. 1, 2, 3, 4. -6. 1, 2, 3, 4. -7. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can stop at -8. Okay, so I gotta break my number line into fourths because that's where the level started. And this line paper is perfect. You may want to use a separate piece of paper. And notice I'm making 3 lines because 3 lines is going to give me 4 chunks. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Boom, bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so turning back to the front, I'm doing a -3.5 plus a -5 1/4. So my number line is going to start at -3.5. So common mistake. Some people think -3.5 is right there, but that's not true because when you're on the negative numbers, hey babe, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. My daughter walked in. She wanted me to look at her boots. Okay, so common mistake, what I was saying, a lot of people think that this is -3.5 right here, but that's not -3.5 because when you're on the negative side, remember you're starting here and you're going to the left. So this is -2, that's -2.5, this is -3, this will be -3.5. So I'm going to start my...
Hey, Mama.
I'm sorry, I had to be mom. Okay, so here we go. I'm at -3.5. So -3.5 is here because I'm counting -2, -3, -3.5. So I'm going to put the beginning of my vector here. And I am going to go back 5 1/4. So this is how I'm going to look at this. So since I'm in the middle and half here, and I want to go back 5 first, I'm just saying from half to half is 1. So I'm going to start here. From this half to this half is 1 whole. So I've gone back 1. From this half to this half, I'm going to go back. That's 2. From this half to this half, that is 3. From this half to this half, that is 4. And I've ran out of space on my number line. So I got to extend it. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be -9. And I've gone back how many so far? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means I got to go back 1 more. So let's break it up. So from this half to this half is going to be 5. And I got to go back 5 1/4. So I've already gone back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I got to go back another 4th. That's just 1 more 4th. So boom. That's where my vector ends. And this is going to be where my answer is. So now I got to look to see where that answer is. Don't make the common mistake and say, hey, this is -9 1/4. That's not true. We've been doing that a lot in class. So remember, when we're on the negative side of the number line, we're counting to the left. Phone is moving a little bit. Let me tighten that up. Okay, so I went back 5 1/2 or 5 1/4, and I am at -8. This is -8 1/4. This is negative 8 2/4 or negative 8 1/2. And this is negative 8 3/4. So that is where I ended on my number line. Negative 8 3/4, because negative 8 4/4 would be 9. So where's the fish at? So the fish is, with respect to the water surface at 11 o'clock a.m., he is at negative 8 3/4. So that means the fish is 8 3/4 feet below, because that negative is telling me below the surface. Okay, let's pause and let's process that. Okay, so that's that was our first problem that we're going to do for this video. And hopefully you understood why I put the negative numbers where I put them, because the fish, he dove down below sea level, and then 4 hours later he went down even more. And so remember, when I add two negatives, a negative plus a negative gives me an even smaller negative number. So this fish is even further away from the water surface than when he started. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So let's do, that's an addition example. Let's do number 3 from the homework, which is a subtraction example. Okay, so this is number 3 from your homework. Bonus, bonus, bonus. Okay, so Jake is hiking a trail that leads to the top of a canyon. The trail is 4.2 miles long, and Jake plans to stop for lunch after he completes 1.6 miles. How far from the top of the canyon will Jake be when he stops for lunch? Okay, so this is a little bit of a thinking problem. So I know the trail is 4.2 miles long. That's the entire trail. So I'm just going to visualize this here. Okay, so say this is the trail, and I know the entire trail is 4.2 miles. Okay, and so let's say this is Jake. Go Jake. Go Jake, go Jake, go. Okay, so Jake, he is hiking this trail, and he wants to stop for lunch after 1.6 miles because he got a little hungry. So let's say 1.6 miles is about right here, and he wants to stop for lunch. He's going to McDonald's. Okay, so that means how far from the, this is the 1.6 mile marker. So we want to know what's the distance between this point and this point. And I guess I should have drew this kind of at an angle, because he's going to a trail that's through a canyon he's going ascending height. So I shouldn't have done it horizontally like that, but I think you get the idea. So we want to know, if this is 1.6 miles here, we want to know what's the distance of this. I just drew this picture just to kind of give you a visual of why I'm going to set this up as a subtraction problem. So I'm going to say my equation is this minus that gives me this. And you can easily do this to get the answer, but the homework wants a number line model. So we're going to set it up and model it on a number line. So here's my equation. 4.2 minus 1.6 equals whatever that answer is going to be. So, okay, when I draw this number here after the decimal and that number there, those are tenths. So that's in the tenths place. So when I draw this, I am going to divide my number line into tenths. So let's make another number line here. And remember, only put the numbers on there that you need. So I don't need to have any negatives because I've got a negative and I am subtracting a positive. If you would like to change this to an addition problem, which we've already talked about, that's always our first step, let's go ahead and do that. So remember, subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative. So this is also 4.2 plus a negative 1.6. Either way it goes, I'm going to start at 4.2 and I'm going to head to the left because I'm subtracting. So let's put 4 here. Let's put 4 right here. Let's put 5 here. And let's put 3 here. Okay. Reason why I put 5 is because I got 4 and some change for this trail. So since these are tenths, I'm going to break this up into tenths. So I like to do half first and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count my chunks. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, 10 tenths, or a whole. Perfect. Do that again. Only put the numbers on there that you need. Okay, so I'm going to locate 4.2 on this number line. So this is 4, 4 and 1 tenth, 4 and 2 tenths. Boom. There's 4.2. And I am going to go back 1 and 6 tenths. I'm going 6, this is taking me left. So I know from 4 and 2 tenths to 3 and 2 tenths is a whole 1. Boom. And if you want to count it to check, you can. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Uh-oh. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got too many. Let me double check this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know why. Let's see. Let me double check. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tenths. That's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I must have counted. Let me double check myself. Okay, so this is 4 and 2 tenths. 4.1, 4.2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's right. Okay, that's right. I just had a miscount there. Okay, so that's from 4.2 to 3.2 is 1 whole. And now I've got to go 6 more tenths. So that means I need to put 2 back here on my number line and divide this up again into tenths so I can go back 6 more tenths. So half. Okay. So I already went 10 tenths or 1 whole, and I got to go back 6 more. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm stopping right there. So I went back 1 whole from 4.2 to 3.2. So that's 1 whole right here. And then I went a negative 1.6. And that made me land right there. So now I'm on the positive side of this number line. So now 4.2 minus 1.6, that lands me at, here's 2, here is 2.5, so this is 2.6. So my answer is 2.6. And you could have found that by doing this. Same way. So let's put our number back into the context of the question. So it says, how far from the top of the canyon will Jake be when he stops from lunch? So Jake will be 2.6 miles from the top of the canyon. Okay, so we've answered that question there. Okay, so those are 2 problems from the homework. I'm just going to give you a quick tip because we have a test coming up this Friday, and I'll send that out on Remind. Just giving you a quick tip on what you can do to study for this test. You've already gotten a little mini study guide from me, and you're going to get some more study information. But what I would like to see is you making some flashcards and to try to quiz yourself on the knowledge that you need to acquire or need to have had acquired by this test. So here's just a couple examples of some flashcards that I have. And I'll flip this over so that we got a little white background here. Okay, so this is one I made. What is an additive inverse? Give some examples, and then you flip it over and you just say additive inverses are a pair of numbers whose sum is 0, or opposites. Then I've got some examples. 5 plus negative 5 is 0. Negative 3.6 and 3.6, sum is 0. 1/2 plus negative 1/2, 0. Here's another example. What's the rule for subtraction? Give some examples using the rule. So flip it over. Subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. So 5 minus 2 is the same as 5 plus negative 2. Remember, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. And of course, that answer is 3. 1/2 minus a negative 1/2, same as 1/2 plus 1/2. So subtracting a positive. And remember, a hint, and don't do this if you make your cards. A hint is just say, when I see two negatives back to back like that, boom, they're coming together and they're going to add. And 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. Negative 12 minus 10, same as negative 12 plus negative 10. So subtracting a positive, the same as adding a negative. And negative 12 plus negative 10, that's negative 22. Couple more examples. You can put some problems on a card for yourself to solve. Then here, what's the process for adding rational numbers with different signs? And then here, first step, look at the absolute value to determine the sign. Subtract. Then the sum will take the sign of that larger absolute value. Okay, I hope that this helped you out. If you got any questions, hit me up on the remind. And have a good day. Have a good rest of your Sunday. And I will see you all tomorrow. All right, have a good one. Peace out.